What's a fact that was hidden from you as a child? Info about my biological dad. Like at first he abandoned me cause he didn't want me. Then I was told he was dead. Then I was told he did leave, but not because he didn't want me but because somebody put a hit out on him, and that one turned out to be true. Did the person who told you those horrible lies the one who put out the hit? No, the person who lied was my mother, and she did it because she was salty about her choice in men. It is actually not the official policy of Wonderland, large amusement park outside of Toronto, that you are only allowed to visit once per year. I'm not mad. I actually think it was hilarious that my parents convinced us of this. There isn't a trade-in program to bring in old Legos to get new ones. Some fucker just stole all my Legos from our parked car, and my parents told me this so I would not be sad. I hope he experienced the small parts choking hazard himself. The cunt. Birthday suits are not real suits. Growing up in a household where the attire was a cross between business attire and church clothes, I always assumed the term birthday suit was a special tailored suit that was given to you in your birthday. You know, I like your version better. Let's get dressed to the nines on our birthdays. My parents really didn't want children, and they regretted having me. This is one of the biggest reasons why I will never have children. I would resent the fuck out of them, and it's not fair on the child. They never asked to be brought into this world. I would feel guilty as hell. Feel this. As an adult, my mom told me that she resented both my sister and I for ruining her marriage. Oof, that my father actually wanted to be in my life. But my mother put him in a position where he felt he couldn't fight to be there. I grew up believing my dad didn't want me and that he left my mom before I was born because she got pregnant. The truth was that when she got pregnant, she decided he was too immature to be a father, even though they were the same age and equally dumb, and broke up with Hi Monsieur when he showed up after I was born. She got my grandparents to answer the door for her and tell him that he'd need a lawyer to see me, because he'd need to file for custody. He was just a stupid 19-year-old kid. He couldn't afford a lawyer for a custody battle, and neither could his parents. Whoa, did you ever meet your father after that? That fucking around with the interior lights while in a moving vehicle is actually legal. It's just annoying. Asterisk turns on light. From the backseat asterisk. Are you fucking crazy? Turn that shit off, you stupid kid. Quote. Well fuck. Chill the fuck out. Mom and dad. Every fucking time that my dad's death when I was 10 was suicide. I was told the motorbike accident was an accident. At the time he was riddled with cancer. Doctors had stopped treatment and moved him to palliative. I finally foiled a copy of the police accident and coroner's report when I was in my early 20s cause too many little details didn't add up. He always wore a helmet, yet he wasn't at the time of the accident. He knew the area well, yet he rode straight into a roundabout. He had bad night blindness, yet he was riding at 3 a.m. Monsieur. The police crash report said there was no evidence of slowing down or skidding, meaning he made no attempt to prevent hitting the roundabout. He was doing 120 kilometers per hour on impact, and he'd been noted to have depressed, suicidal ideation since receiving his terminal diagnosis. When I went to talk to my uncle about it, who was the last person to see my dad alive, he basically admitted to knowing. He said that the whole reason my dad came to see him was to ask him to keep his little girls safe when he's gone. The sad part was the same week I found out Dad suicided. My grandma committed suicide after the pain of her cancer became too much. I'm sorry for your loss. Dealing with cancer is hard on everyone involved. Hope you and your family are in a better place now. On a different note, please don't ignore any recommended cancer screening protocols offered by your doctor, especially if since it may be in the family. Early diagnosis and treatment can prevent much pain and suffering. Cancer is a bitch. My sister is my half-sister. My parents still haven't told me or her. Does she know it? I feel that. My parents took a random trip to Connecticut when I was 16. Came back and told me I'm not the oldest anymore. How did you find out that adults actually have just as little fucking clue about anything happening in the world as we do pretty much? I'm still waiting to do all the cool shit I thought I could do as an adult. That I wasn't the first child from my father. I was number 4. I have a whole half family living in the same town as me. Found this out one day by talking to the lady who was doing my nails. Turns out she was my half-cousin. What do you mean by half-cousin? Their parents are probably half-siblings. That an uncle of mine was gay. His boyfriend, and his boyfriend's son would always come on holidays with my family. And sometimes I'd see them holding hands or doing couple-wise stuff. So I asked my grandma if they were dating. She vehemently denied it and told me they were just best friends. It didn't even occur to me that my grandma could be lying about something like that, so I just believed her, and until I was old enough to see that, I just trusted that they were buddies. My brother was told that my uncle was the boyfriend's son's babysitter, and that's why they always came on holidays with us. So yeah, what makes it extra weird is that it's not like anyone really cares about him being gay. He's not the first one in my family, and defo not the last. Uncle and boyfriend getting married. Grandma, such good friends. Quote, my parents never hid anything from me. I grew up knowing that my uncle is a pimp, that I have a stepbrother who I don't know because my parents believe he is dangerous due to his drug-induced schizophrenia, and that my grandfather, who I never met, was a pedophile. Along with all the gruesome details of all these, I sometimes wonder if I would be different if I didn't grow up with these stories. Like, would I trust people more easily? Would my thought patterns be different? IDK. Damn, did you ever see any of the play out? Santa Claus ain't real. Say psych right now, trying to cause panic amongst the crowd. What? My grandfather had 2 wives and everyone knew about his other family. That I had a half-sister and didn't know until I was 15. I plan to see her for the first time in 20 years next year possibly. My paternal grandmother was actually my father's stepmother, his bio mother having died a fortnight after giving birth due to complications such as penicillin. Did not exist yet, and NBSP. Didn't find out till I was 19. That was an old-timey as fuck sentence. Speak up, young un. I didn't have me hearing trumpetin'. I said the future is now, old man. Inequality in the justice system. My mom told me and my sisters that McDonald's stopped serving honey with the chicken nuggets. Later, as we became adults, we were astounded to find out that they did in fact add honey and never stopped serving it. Her reasoning was the sticky mess. That my mom was anorexic and died as a result wasn't exactly hidden, but no one talked about it. Didn't find out until I was well in my 20s. That my parents both fooled around, fucked other people before meeting each other. But apparently, just being transparent and not a big deal about that kind of thing was less important than you shouldn't have premarital sex because it's against God's covenant. Okay, cool. Glad you got to have a fun adolescence and then decide to take your religion seriously. Getting that little revelation was the last nail in the coffin of me turning away from organized religion. That I am adopted. My dad has 2 younger brothers, and both their daughters are at least 5 years older than me. Also, I have about 40 to 50 years of age difference with my parents. Turns out that mean girl in my neighborhood was onto something. When she said that my parents were only keeping me, I only found out 2 years ago. At 21. Apparently, according to documents at least, my bio mom was this 17-year-old girl who left me at the hospital and had given a fake name and address, so she couldn't be found. Also, my parents really wanted a daughter, but this nurse who worked with orphans convinced them to adopt a boy, because everyone preferred girls, and boys hardly ever found a family as a result. Also, our family apparently was visited by social workers over the years to check up on me, but I always thought they were family friends. My mom didn't want to have kids. She just went along with it because my dad wanted to. The existence of potatoes. How? My parents had 2 kids together before they had my sister and I were born that they put up for adoption. Almost none. I wish I had a little more innocence growing up. Same. I was trying to think and then I just got depressed skeptical smiley face. It's never been explicitly stated but I'm pretty sure my mom became pregnant with me. Without my dad's wishes. There is a large age gap between me and my older siblings. It was framed to me as, you were a pleasant surprise when I was a child. Then details started filtering through like dad didn't speak for varying periods of time after he found out, and a couple of birthdays ago my sister heavily implied that I was a surprise to everyone but my monsieur. I don't know that I want to push to find out the truth. The collective secret's still hidden from me. My dad cheated on my mom and I have a younger half-brother I've never met that you can divide by 0. Who are you so wise in the ways of math? I guess it's less something that was hidden from me since I don't know why'd you necessarily mention it to a kid. But that I was an in vitro baby. I just heard that I cost a lot of money, and such every now and then and kinda put the dots together when I was like 17. Sort of a weird feeling. But it mostly feels like a fun fact about me now more than anything else. Apparently there were protests about this kinda thing when it was being done around my birth though. Bit of an interesting way to place your birth in history I suppose. I think it's lovely that it was never really hidden from you nor a large deal made out of. We have a family friend who had an IVF baby using a sperm donor. She is single and just wanted to be a mom, which I thought was cool. Anywho, this kid is like 16 now. And as far as I'm aware her mom is still telling her that her dad was a firefighter and he died before you were born. She's probably going to be very shocked and upset when she finds out the truth. After my parents divorced, my father went and found himself a mail-order bride, or so says my mom, brought her back to the US and had a kid with her. By the time I found out, I was 18 and she was probably about 4 years old. He went to my mom's work and took pictures of my mom coming out of her job so he could try to get out of paying child support for me. Went to my sister's job as well and told her he wanted to stop child support because he had a new child to support. My mom took him to court because he stopped paying and the judge threw the book at hi monsieur. He was basically a deadbeat father the entire time he was with my mom when they had my siblings in. Then me years later, gambled his money away constantly and left my mom with no money for food when they were still living in Brazil. My aunt had to buy them food because they were starving. He then went and sold the house they used to have in Brazil and didn't give my mom any of the money, even though both of their names were on the paperwork years later. After they moved up to the US, we suspect he paid a lawyer to forge signatures to do that. Pretty sure there's more, but I can't think of anything. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.